Now then, there may not be a date for a referendum yet, but the battle lines are already being drawn over Britain's membership of the European Union. Key business figures, politicians and even a former head of the army have been pinning their colours to the mast. Last week saw the launch of a second exit campaign too, with the cross-party Vote Leave. But it's competing against a rival group, Leave.eu, which has the backing of UKIP. The party's leader, Nigel Farage, joins me now. Very good morning to you, Mr. Farage. I mean, and that's the simplified version of what's going on with the...
But actually,
there's a lot of campaigns on the Leave
it's
side.
Wrong. You're wrong. Your introduction is wrong. I support every campaign
What,
that
even
wants
the
to
ins?
I support every campaign that wants to get Britain out of the European Union. You know, I'm not going to be partisan about this and say I'll back this group over that group. I'll back everybody that wants us to be outside the European Union. The point is, you know, it's been sort of put that the Leave campaign is divided. They're two completely different campaigns. You know, one, the Leave.eu campaign, has got 200,000 people signed up to it. It's non-party political, and it's trying to reach millions of voters. The other, which is Vote Leave, is a Westminster-based group making business arguments. They're completely different things.
Okay,
and actually, I think they complement.
But, you know, but just so happened to be in the Vote Leave, the Westminster-based one, is your only MP and colleague, Dr. Scarswell.
Well, he's in Westminster, and he's with a group of people he's worked with.
But he's not in your one.
And he's... I'm not in any... No, please, can we get this straight?
Right.
I'm not in any campaign. I'm the leader of UKIP. We are out all over the country, holding public meetings, campaigning. I'm in Gateshead tomorrow night doing it. There are two groups who've set themselves up to be umbrellas. I support both of them, but they're both completely different.
But the issue of leadership does loom. I mean, in terms... You're a seasoned campaigner. You know, you saw it in the general election, we've seen it in the referendum campaign in Scotland. The public, who have to make the decision, need to get their handle on someone, a figurehead, someone leading this. The campaign, that's you, isn't it? That's Nigel. In the public's mind, you are most associated with that message.
I think, to be honest with you, it needs to be several people. And I'm sure when we see the In campaign, you know, they're not going to have just one person. Yeah, OK, Stuart Rose is heading it up, but he's not the only guy that's going to appear on your programme. There'll be other spokesmen and spokeswomen for them, as there will be for our side of the campaign. I lead UKIP. We're the people that have forced this referendum onto the agenda. We're going to be out doing our thing, and we will work with anybody. But I think what's really important, and what's being forgotten here, is there are millions of people out there who don't normally vote in referendums, who can be brought in to vote if we're prepared to talk about believing in our country and controlling our borders. There's also a whole swathe of people on the left of politics, all right, who potentially are Eurosceptic and who are not going to be attracted to a Westminster-based campaign which is mostly run by Conservatives. So we need different elements to all of this. OK,
so it's a mixed message then, danger coming across then, isn't it? If you're not going to unify, you're not going to unify the message, because you also left out of it, Mr. Farage, is the groups that so far are saying we're waiting for the renegotiation to take place.
Yeah.
We don't know which way we'll go. We might go no if we don't like what the Prime Minister gets.
Well, the answer to that's quite simple. What renegotiation? It was pretty clear last week when I met the French President that there is no renegotiation. And if you look at today's Sunday Telegraph, I know you've just been through the reviews, you know, what the British government are asking for, frankly, is nothing. I mean, look, at the heart of this, there are lots and lots of arguments. At the heart of this, recent ICM poll showed 52% would vote to stay in the European Union if we could control our borders. If we can't control our borders, that falls to 36%.
Just let me ask you about that, because you mentioned it. I mean, it was extraordinary footage I watched when you delivered your speech there in front of Mr. Hollande, especially. You called him a pipsqueak. You called his country a pipsqueak.
Yes.
How did that translate then into French?
I'm not sure what the translators made it. I mean, look, 25 years ago, when we were pushing towards, a political European Union, pushing towards a single currency, France and Germany had equivalent strength. The point I was making is that now it is a completely German-dominated European Union.
So are we pipsqueaks too in the UK as well, because we're still in the EU dominated by the Germans?
Quite frankly, what Mrs Merkel says is what happens, and that happens, whether it's to do with the euro, whether it's to do with the migration crisis, she is very much in charge.
Let me get back to the Leave, the campaign to get out, whatever you do. You talked there about figures on the left. There were figures within the Conservative Party. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn has said, well, you know, he's not entirely sure about the European Union. Could you see figures like that?
Well, Jeremy Corbyn for 40 years has been against Britain being a member of the European Union. He was a fan of Tony Benn. Nobody made a democratic argument against being members of the European project better than Tony Benn. Benn was a great patriot, believed that we should govern our own country, not surrender control of our parliament and our courts elsewhere. And Corbyn, we all know that Corbyn wants to leave the EU, but he finds himself the leader of a party, and within that parliamentary party, who have been almost completely taken in by the European project. So he's backed off, sadly. It's a shame.
But do you think he could still be convinced? Obviously not going to share a platform with you, but come round to the note. Would you think Jeremy Corbyn could?
Well, my position is, I think this is the most important question we're going to face in our lifetimes. I think left-wing politics and right-wing politics are irrelevant compared to the issue of do we control our own country, do we control our own borders. I'd share a platform with pretty much anybody.
Including Jeremy Corbyn?
Of course.
Well, you wouldn't. Would you share one with Lord Lawson, who's on your side, it seems, but says he doesn't want to have any dealings with xenophobic parties. He was referring to UKIP.
I don't think I'm posh enough for him. But despite being abused, which I'm pretty used to, I would still share a platform with him. Of course I would. I want to win this referendum. I'm not interested in factionalism. I'm not interested in party tribalism. I want to win this referendum.
And we've left out. Address it now, elements of the Conservative Party. There are many within the Conservative Party who are already, I know you've been speaking to them, you recruited one of them. They are outers.
I think a lot of the Conservative Party is in that position. And what is really clear is that the Conservative Party are bitterly split over this. Perhaps they have been for 4 decades. But on the one hand, you've got Cameron and Osborne, who basically are going to offer us the status quo. And on the other, you've got Boris and Theresa May making demands that look pretty impossible. So I think Mr Cameron's in for a very tough time. I'm certain that of the Conservative Party in the country, well over half of them now want to leave the EU.
Boris Johnson would be a feather in the out cap, wouldn't he?
Well, we might just get him. We might just get him, and he's a recognisable figure, and that would be good news. OK, Mr Farage, very good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. UKIP leader Nigel Farage there.